So for this presentation, we will try to answer the question of what is Colab and how do we use it for tutorials. So first off, if you are new to GitHub, please first complete the GitHub for Astronomers short course on the Sarao e-learning portal before continuing with this interactive tutorials as described in this video. So Sarao e-learning in general and the African Radio Interferometry Winter School specifically use Python notebooks and CASA libraries to introduce students to the fundamentals of radio astronomy data processing, as well as the fundamentals of MeerKAT data processing. A significant part of the winter school focus on hands-on practical experience using small, real-world datasets. These practicals are presented in the form of online tutorials that can be executed by the student through GitHub and Google Colab. This video introduced the basics of using Colab to run MeerKAT training tutorials. To get started, simply preview the notebook in GitHub. GitHub will automatically render the notebook so it's displayed in your browser. Once displayed, launch the tutorial notebook in Google Colab by clicking on the big blue Opening Colab button at the top. The basic layout of a Colab notebook consists of three parts. The notebook menu bar is at the top of the page just underneath the name of the notebook. The notebook table of contents, displayed in the left-hand hamburger menu, is obvious, and then the main page, where you will find the Python code cells and descriptive notes. The first thing you need to do is to connect to the host cloud runtime environment. You do this by clicking on the Connect option in the top right-hand corner. Setting up will take you a little while. Just keep an eye on the option text display. Google will display the process for you as the environment is set up and allocated for use. Each notebook is its own little cloud instance that is isolated from other notebooks and other users. This feature allows students to independently run and play with notebook tutorials. This does, however, mean that the first few sections of your notebook layout will generally consist of code cells for software installation and data upload. These steps are only required at startup and only needed to be executed once. Or even if you want to restart from a fresh setup or datasets, redo these steps. Most often your notebook will consist of code cells that you will run as you step through the tutorial. To run or execute a code cell, simply hover over the cell and a play button will appear to the left-hand side. Clicking this button will execute the code cell. The run button will now change into a stop button. An animation will show the cell running. Upon completion, output or further user instructions will be displayed underneath the cell. You can also interrupt long-running execution cells at any time by clicking on the stop button. Once the uploads and installation sections are completed, you can view your content folder by clicking on the file icon in the left menu. Any output files or images that are produced by the tutorial notebook will also be located here and can be viewed and downloaded at any time. To view or download any of the files in the content folder, click on the three ellipses that appear when you hover over the file name to the right. Please note, all uploaded, installed, and output files creating during the execution of the notebook will be lost once the notebook is closed and the cloud instance terminates. You must either re-upload or recreate the output by rerunning notebook cells, or if it's important and you wish to keep the files, you should download them to your local system before exiting the notebook instance. The data processing part of the tutorial notebook will follow the installation section. Running and rerunning code in these cells will take up most of the tutorial training sessions. Code cells are similar to Jupyter notebook cells, and you will import libraries, set variables, or provide additional user input using widgets and forms, as well as execute and add Python code. Since the notebook is fully interactive, you can change any of the commands or variable names and you can also expand or elaborate on the notebook by adding your own code cells and Python commands. In addition, any of the images or files created during the execution of the notebook can be viewed from Colab during execution. To view or refresh a file display, simply double-click on the file name in the left-hand menu. This is especially useful for packages such as Casa, where the progress output or error messages are logged into a file. As you progress through the Python code cells running Casa command, you should continue to refresh the log file display in order to view the Casa log output. This will show you the logs very similar to what you would see if you were running Casa and were viewing the Casa log window. Once done, to close the file you've opened, simply click on the cross next to the file name in the display. And once you have finished your tutorial, you can simply close the Notebook tab to end the session, and it will release all your resources. This will obviously also delete all your files, as we said, as well as the code changes you made during the practical. But remember, you can always rerun the notebook again later. However, if you have made changes to the code cells or added functionality that you choose to keep, you must save the notebook before exiting the session. Since we opened the notebooks directly from GitHub, you will notice that changes cannot be saved directly in the GitHub Playground environment. To save your changes or keep your notebook, you have to make a local copy, and you can do that either to your personal Google Drive, or you can even upload the notebook to your own GitHub repository. Alternatively, you can download the notebook as a Jupyter IPython notebook to your system. From here on, you are encouraged to run a couple of notebooks and get some hands-on experience. The easiest way to get started is to go to the African Radio Interferometry Winter School Cookbook in GitHub and run a couple of example notebooks just to practice. You can find some more information about the African Radio Interferometry Winter School under the Workshops heading in the Soreo e-learning portal. Have fun!